Yeah, and the Illinois State Redbirds, I think their regular seasons, they got third. They tied for third. Or no, they didn't tie for third, but they are third. But I think the Missouri Valley tournament is actually here in Bloomington Normal. I think it's at ISU. Um, oh, Dane is confirming it is. So hopefully maybe I can pop out to a game or something. It'd be fun to get out there if time allows, but we'll see. Yeah, Southern Illinois though, and Illinois Chicago, they tied for second in the Missouri Valley this season. And then big shout out to Eastern Illinois. They won the Ohio Valley. SIUE finished second in that conference. So some Illinois teams doing well here. And then one thing that I saw last week come through, Ethan Eberle, he pitched against Wake Forest for Louisville through 6 innings, struck out nine, and allowed 3 runs in the game. So pretty good outing there for him. And Drew, I know you said he's kind of been like a weekend starter the past month or so for Louisville. So
Don't
um,
quote me on that, but I do think I've seen some stuff where he's definitely getting the ball in
yeah,
much bigger innings, and Louisville's having a great year. And what I love about them too is like they're loaded with Illinois and Wisconsin products up and down that lineup. You look at guys playing well for them, and then you factor in like Gavin Killeen, who was there last year, but now he's at Tennessee, doing what he's doing. He's a Wisconsin product. Shoot, Zion Rose is down there. You've got Eddie King. You've got so many Illinois guys. Alex Alicea playing the infield. He's a Wisconsin guy. So they get into this area really, really hard and do a good job. And Ethan Eberle,
yeah,
as a
yeah,
freshman, doing what he's doing, Gav. I know you got a lot of looks at him last year.
yep, yep. But one thing also that I just saw this morning, scrolling Instagram, Justin Osterhaus, I hope I'm saying that right, at Purdue Fort Wayne, in a game, I think it was on Thursday against Wright State. He went 5 for 6 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and then he also earned the win on the mound as well. So kind of a crazy stat line there, but he's out like Grand Rapids, Michigan, is where he's from. But just thought that was an interesting nugget to point out.
Well, you toss that in there, and there were a couple things that kind of piqued my interest with it. Like one is Doug Schreiber's the head coach at IPFW. Like I coached 1 year for Doug at Purdue, so getting to see him, and I saw a picture of like senior day at IPFW, and they gave him a really cool like home plate plaque, which fired me up. But I dug into IPFW's roster and their schedule and their stats, and one thing I noticed was Camden Karchewski is leading their team in hitting over like 320. But he was a 2021 grad from Joliet West. His dad's a head coach over there, Coach Karch. Started his college career at Triton, Karchewski did, and went to IPFW after Triton. And seeing him, leading a team in hitting, playing in Division One baseball, that definitely deserves a shout out there.
Yeah, and I mentioned some of the JUCO stuff, just having some JUCO news to talk about. But Lakeland, they are headed to the Division One JUCO World Series. Heartland is headed to the Division Two JUCO World Series, and I just wanted to add in that Madison College is as well. They're kind of a local JUCO, and then Oakton, they're headed to the Division Three World Series. So three Illinois teams are representing each division for junior college baseball.
I think it
Yeah,
just goes to
Tyler, what do you got
show.
on this?
I just think it goes to show how good baseball is in this state. And that you can go to a really good program right out of high school. It doesn't have to be a Division One school, right? Go JUCO, go play right away. And look at these schools. I mean, they're playing in big games, right? They're going to the World Series. It doesn't get any better than that.
And I had a couple nuggets there. Like Lakeland making it to the World Series. I believe this is their first trip there in a long time. I'd have to look it up to get the numbers exactly right. But Julio Godinez, he's originally from the Chicagoland area. You mentioned Eastern Illinois earlier as far as like winning the OVC. Like Julio was an assistant at Eastern Illinois. We called him out earlier in the fall, maybe like beginning of the winter, because I think Lakeland had the most commits from the Illinois State games. Not like that's any big deal, and then they make it to the College World Series, but or the JUCO World Series, but you love to see it. And Julio, he always comes and works that Illinois State games. Him and one of his assistants, whether it's Gabe Black or somebody else, it's come over and really like absolutely crush it at that event. They're only necessarily there to like help coach in the dugout, maybe help with the workout before the event starts. But Julio's just one of those guys. He'll do whatever is necessary. He's ready to jump in at the drop of a hat. So you love to see him kind of, I don't know, maybe making a name for Lakeland and making a big statement down there in the GRAC. Like that league is absolutely loaded. When you factor in Wabash Valley and John A. Logan, and Swick was really good this year, and Olney's always good, and Lincoln Trail, and it's a loaded Division One JUCO conference down there.
Well, and look at
And
how they did it, right? They had to take two from John A on that final day, and they did.
super
So I mean, what a
impressive.
way to do it! It kind of reminds me of when I saw, who was it, Indian Hills versus Wabash. I was just like running around for Dave Seifert like my first year. Drew, I don't know
Okay,
if you remember that.
I don't remember who you saw.
It was Wabash and Indian Hills. And yeah, they had Indian Hills had to take two from Wabash, and they did. And I got the worst sunburn of my life, but because I thought I was only gonna be there for one game, but I was there all day.
Yeah, was that
Um,
at South Suburban? Maybe
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that now that you say that. Yeah.
yeah.
I was
But
gonna
yeah,
call out too, like EIU and Jason Anderson. They've been producing high level prospects like Hayden Birdsong. He's a Mattoon grad. Made his way over from Lakeland to EIU. Now he's in the big leagues. But Trey Sweeney, like the Detroit Tigers, I think are one of the stories of the major leagues. I'm not super locked into the MLB and what's going on, but I did like happen to look at the standings, and I saw Detroit was playing really well, and Trey Sweeney's like an everyday big leaguer pretty much, and not to mention Javi Baez kind of figuring it out up
Yeah.
there. I don't know what they're doing to get him hitting over 300, but I thought I saw that.
playing center
So
field.
just a couple interesting nuggets that came across my desk.
This isn't fully baseball related, but Eastern Illinois continues to like blow my mind just with the fact that they're not like a power five, power four school, whatever. But you look at like the football pedigree they've had with some guys that have like players and coaches that have come through. Like it's unreal, to be honest. And then obviously the baseball factored into it as well lately. Like that's awesome to see. Like just a Illinois school kind of in a smaller pocket of the state, just getting some awesome stuff on a national level too. So
And just off the top of my head, I've got three guys from EIU as far as the NFL, but I know there's more because you got Sean Payton, who's originally a
yep.
Naperville guy. You've got Tony Romo, you got Jimmy Garoppolo. I know there's been more. Like I know Henry Dahmercant went there. He was a Naperville North grad back in the late '90s and led the nation in scoring in basketball at EIU. So I had to throw that one in there. But yeah, Henry Dahmercant, he was an absolute stud for any old school
Uh,
Illinois historians that listen to this podcast.
I I'm trying to double check here so I'm not making something up, but I believe Mike Shanahan coached or played at Eastern Illinois.
I
Um,
wouldn't put it past it. Yeah.
I kind of want to double check this just to make sure.
Because there's other guys in
Um,
the NFL that are like EIU grads that aren't just, are not coming to my mind right now. Same with the big leagues. Like there's been some really good baseball guys that have come through EIU as well, as far as like coaches, stuff like that. So I know we're
yeah, so he
giving the
played
Panthers
from
some love right
1970 to
now.
1972, and then he was the offensive coordinator in 1978. So yeah, he did have some time at EIU.
Nice. Nice. Well, glad we can throw some love to Charleston,
Yeah.
Illinois, Jason Anderson and the crew down there.